All right. Good evening, everybody. We should be online. There we go. All right. Alrighty, so I'll give everybody just a minute to log in here. If you guys don't mind, make sure when you come in, if you don't mind leaving a like. If you guys are in the Discord, I do appreciate it. Alrighty. What's up? What's up, everybody? Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a good day today in the stock market, in general. What's up, Lost Second? All right. What's up? Awesome, man. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. What's up, Raj? Good to see you again, man. See, what are we looking like here? All right, everybody's piling in. Oh, Jesus. Oops. All right. Yeah, we'll go over that, Raj. Did you take that swing today? That's awesome, man. I'm glad that you caught that. We'll go over that for sure. All right, so we are going to hop on the news just to recap. It's good to see what the opinions are, what people are talking about. Let's see here. What's up, everybody? All right. Okay. So we'll go ahead. Thank you guys, everybody who is in here. If you guys don't mind leaving a like, do appreciate it. So do the algorithms. Okay, so right off the bat, we're just going to go over the major indexes. Those are obviously our most important. And so the move today honestly came as no surprise. We did have the setup to do so, and it just seems like every time you think the market will go down, no matter what, it does not. So starting off with SPY, we closed up 1.4%. You can see here, Manny and I talked over the weekend about how crucial it was to see a reversal at this point in time. And because we did, in fact, see that reversal, especially at the level that we were at. We were at a really, really major support, really the last support that me and him could like rationally say, okay, like this is definitely a support level. And so on that time frame, you can see here on the hourly or more or less the 15-minute, it might have been last week, I believe, or it might have even been this morning, I talked about the inverse head and shoulders on SPY. And this is your classic reversal pattern. So, and it's actually one of my favorites. The inverse head and shoulders is very, I'd say like 9 times out of 10, it fails me. But other than that, it really is a really awesome pattern, especially if you can catch it when you see that next bounce and you see weakness in these candles. You can see right here that shorts are here and they are trying to take it lower. So even on this gap up, right, you could kind of see that we were making that little bitty like cup or rounded bottom, and then just making that other shoulder. And then if it doesn't make sense to you, I mean, it's kind of a weird method, but it's always okay to flip the chart around. And if you saw this, would you buy calls or would you buy equity in this chart? Probably not. And that's just because it looks like it's going to reverse. So let's invert my chart before I start charting everything upside down. Okay, so anyway, SPY basically up 1.4%, back up against and up around that major support level. So we've climbed back up. If we go out here to the daily, zoom in, you can see where my support level was right there. And we have climbed back into this other secondary major, you could even say the weekly support level, and just underneath the 9-day moving average. So not totally out of the woods, but definitely a break of downtrend as of today. So if you actually take a peek at the chart here, you'll see coming off of June 15th, we actually saw a major pullback a couple days in a row, and just bear flag after bear flag. Then we had that major sell-off last week. We actually ended up bouncing and reclaiming and breaking that support. You can see here on the hourly, we're above that 200-day moving average. So any type of bullish catalyst, or even just, we have Powell speaking tomorrow. If you guys don't, obviously I have a whiteboard right behind me, but Powell is on tomorrow, and this should be, are you serious? Oh man, my daughter has a field day with my Expo markers. I bought a pack of 25 Expo markers and I now have 6. I understand how my teachers felt. So Powell is on tomorrow. That has always and will always affect the market. Obviously that's a Fed speech. I don't know why I'm writing that way, but so that's going to be a huge and really important speech, and it's always important to tune into these type of events with Powell speaking, because we're in such crucial times, or really we're skating on thin ice. So the wrong comment, could send the market into a free fall. Always good to pay attention, especially, and it's my opinion, and I'm not alone in this opinion, that a lot of this pumping is to reel in investors. You do also have to remember that a lot of people are over leveraged, and have been over leveraged in order to take advantage of the bullish sentiment and euphoria within the market, and that is going to have huge consequences if we fall. So there's huge pressure on the market to stay up in some regards. So anyway, so SPY up 1.4%. NASDAQ, looking at the Qs, we'll go Okay, so we actually talked about this again. I think tomorrow we see Q's run. We had decent movement today, more or less breaking out of this flag. We talked about this on Friday, and this is why I love technical analysis. It did happen to wick below that resistance, but we ended up testing. You can see this is a previous resistance. Our previous resistance turned to support, and then right here, making a nice flag. And so today, we broke and held flat right at that 345.75. Is that right? 344.75, excuse me. Is that right? Sorry, I know you guys can't see it, but my screen is pretty long, so I'm like looking way over here. Yeah, so 344.75, that's kind of where we got stopped out today. It does look like it has more room to run. My resistance level that we had marked, let me make sure I can double check this one. There it is. Okay, so my resistance level for this one's going to be 346.65 if we end up going and hitting resistance again. But like I said, it's really important to just think about and have a bit of perspective when you think about like the market cruising and pushing past all-time highs in the conditions that we're in. What does this really mean? In the market gearing up for a big cash out because of before a big push upward? Absolutely deepen. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But yes, that is absolutely right. And if you look at the dark pool, I believe I can pull that up. We'll go look at flow algo, and I'll see if I can. I don't know what it was today, but I do know that. Let's see here. Okay. So looking at the dark pool, those are buys. So yesterday we had, or last week, excuse me, we had an enormous amount of SPY dark pools, and these were not to the downside, or not to the upside. But after the gap up today, we saw a lot of, obviously, these orders moving or giving us an indication that we may push up higher, which the chart does. And like I said, let's see, 1 second. So we had this giant wedge that we had right here. Let me see real quick. This rising wedge, I think it's right here. Yeah, I think that's it. Yep, there it is. Sorry, the chart's a little messy right now with all my lines. Let me delete some of these. So on that big sell-off, we actually ended up breaking a smaller time frame rising wedge to the downside. That happened right here. Then we happened to revisit the support. You can see that right there. I'll get rid of these EMAs so you guys can see a little bit more clearly. So there is a good chance, and it's more than likely, that we could pump and push 346 at which time, or at that time, I would be really, really on your toes about a potential reversal. What is that flow algo? Okay, so flow algo is, and I'll give you guys, if you guys are on right now, I'll give you guys a rundown. So essentially what these are large option orders or unusual option orders that are coming into the market. You also have dark pool and equity blocks that come in. You also have alpha AI, which is triggered by their algorithm. There's a lot of people have different opinions if it's volume based, option flow based. Obviously, if you get, like we saw snow flow today, that was crazy. If you go look at snow right here, you'll see $1.6 million put into the 9/7/21 260 calls. That's Manny actually texting me right now. So snow 260 calls coming in. and then you see like an algorithm score. Now, I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money because they follow these plays blindly. I use this as a lot of times, and those of you in the Discord, you guys have seen it before, we'll get into a play and flow will come in, right? So we see the setup and then we get in, and then that triggers flow, which obviously allows us to say, okay, that looks good to potentially take to the upside. So you have that, and you can pretty much look it up ticker by ticker. Bank of America, you know, if you see like a ticker, if you're looking at a specific ticker that you like, that's a good way to do so, is to kind of like get an idea of what the sentiment is. So if you're, let's say you're looking at Kroger, right? Well, nobody cares right now. So how about, what if it's MAXR? Nope, nobody cares either. It's too small. Let's see. Obviously, we have Apple. Let's look at Baidu. Any Baidu flow? Okay, so 100% bullish. Call flow, pretty much 100%. Put flow, 0 to none, right? So this is going to essentially give you an idea of what investors are. It could be retail investors, and then you can take a peek at the algorithm score, where these were filled, what time they were filled, what the expiration date, and what the strike price. Then what you can do is you can go over to Baidu. That's not Baidu, that's not a ticker. Use your fingers here. There we go. You can go peek at Baidu, and let's say we want to look at the hourly. Okay, 195 calls. 195 is right here, and I promise you this is resistance. Pinky promise. Let's see, I'll even, no, that's right. 195, let's see. There we go. So that's actually 194.72. And this is coming out of this channel. Let's go to the daily really quickly on Baidu. Yep, that's accurate. So yeah, so look at that right there. And then as a matter of fact, you do have a small gap, 195.72. So what I see here, and it looks like, yeah, we still haven't hit this major resistance or support line. But what it looks like is based on this angle, right, right here, and this is based on the 4-hour trend line. But this one is likely to potentially retest resistance before, or if it ends up getting a breakout, that's fine, but before rejecting, likely, because right now Chinese stock sentiment is really low, especially tickers like Baba and Baidu, unfortunately. So, but that's just a good way to, yeah, so like, let's look at Ford. Okay, so 625, pretty much all of the flow today, starting from 10 o'clock, really ending at 10:35. And these were a decent amount of premium. Let's see, we have 180, oh wow, 1,863 calls at $21 a piece on Ford, $15 strike. So what do? We go to Ford. Looks like we got a breaking downtrend. We were talking about this one last week, hoping to take it out of this channel and didn't end up getting that play. Now there's also, it kind of looks like a chopped off head, but it could make a head and shoulders here, but does look like it's ready for a bounce. As you can see, a pretty clean reversal. So it's good to see where the sentiment is. If you're a new investor, you know, like, it's okay to look and, you know, get an idea. If you have a stock that you like and you're trying to optimize the upside, or if you're trying to see if the stock is planning for a big move to the downside, it's okay to look at flow. You know, if you see something and you start to see bearish sentiment leaking in, it's a good time to adjust. So how do option chains help inform our swing? So a lot of times you can, are you talking about this, or are you talking about like actual option swings? Real quick, I'm going to carry on. Just go ahead and leave your comment. So the Russell, IWM, we last week had a ton of put flow, and I'm pretty sure everyone's cashed out on those puts. We did have a really gnarly gap up today. I'm not quite sure. Just looking at this support level, that's exactly where we broke, and then we ended up reversing immediately. That is why it is super duper important to never try and guess the bottom. The market is always meant to go up. So if you're in play, I mean, look at previous bear markets and look how stocks react when they hit the bottom. They don't bottom, they gap up. So if you are continuously swinging short positions, you will get burned, or whether that be puts or what have you. If the only time, there was, Nikola, Baidu, eventually all of them, even Nikola, bounced and reclaimed $20, which I was really upset about, but it was a lesson on emotions. Options, you can look at the open interest on certain calls to get an idea of where people are at, or where I am exactly trying to learn how to improve my swing. So I was wondering how and if option chains can help me as a data point, or is flow algo the better data bet? So I think that it's okay to use both. I think that it's not a black or white thing where one is better than the other. I think that if you're cruising down option chains and you see something with, a lot of open interest, and you see maybe even the IV is pumped a little bit on a certain specific contract with a given amount of time behind it, and you're looking to take it as a potential swing, there's a lot of people pick strikes, right? So like, for example, Ford, $15 strike seems like a reasonable bounce. And they bought 1,800 of these calls. It's a little bit like, and here, let me pull it up really quick. So, like, let's say like, I guess this is a really good example, because Ford is at, where's Ford at? Ford is currently at $14.80. So it's a 20-cent move to go in the money, right? That's really not enough. But if you had a strike, let's say we thought that Ford was going to go back and try and retest 17 or cruise an all-time highs or whatever the case may be, and you see somebody go out for a $20 strike for January, you can meet in the middle, right? So you can say, okay, what is a good price point? Let's take the 17 or the $16 strike, and we'll maybe look at a shorter time frame contract, expecting that obviously it's going to make at least a quarter or half of that move. So that's a good thing to have is both of them. Look at the open interest, and you'll find that when you see long calls like that or long swings, you can go look at shorter expirations closer to the money and see that there are usually a specific contract, or one of those contracts, usually a whole psychological number that'll be just a little bit more or pumped up. Not all the time, but it is something that I've noticed, and it does actually help me select my swings. A lot of times I'll actually go one step below, right? So my strategy a lot of the times is to meet in the middle just like that. I know that the stock will likely make a decent move in that direction. If it does that, my contract will start getting purchased, right? It may be shorter expiration, but it's more likely going to go in the money, at least from an IB or from an investor perspective. So they're going to likely look to buy those contracts. Hence, whether or where I look at the chart and evaluate, okay, is it going to go in the money? Does it look like it's going to go in the money? How's the volume? What does the call flow look like? And if it doesn't seem like it will, then I may go ahead and sell my contract, because it's still going to get, obviously the underlying stock movement is going to pump it, but as well as people looking to buy those contracts as they see underlying movement. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't just go off the rails there. Okay, so IWM, back up again against its downtrend, and let me fix that. So we ended the day on IWM after recovering a huge loss. You can see gapped back up and release. Yeah, of course, no problem. Hopefully that helps. So IWM just kind of consolidated right here, go down to the 2 hour just to get a better look. But you can see a little bit of weakness as we approach resistance, so expect some consolidation. I would maybe tomorrow expect a pullback, whether that be at open. So watch for pennies to run maybe towards the second half of the day. 222, unless the move happens in pre-market. Let's see here, 225. 226 on the dot is actually where we could see a pullback. Let that 9-day moving average catch up, and you might see a breakout, as this was a significant recovery. And a lot of times when you break a major support and then reclaim it, that ends up being a strong bounce and could potentially lead you to higher highs as you look to potentially break downtrend. And actually, let me fix that. So you can see right there, ending the day really cleanly against that level. Something to keep in mind, if we do in fact see a pullback here, now this is a giant head, a little cone head, but if we do see a pullback tomorrow, so I'm going to set a couple different alerts over this thing. If we see a pullback, this could end up making an inverse head and shoulders as well, which, just like I talked about, is a reversal pattern. So. Okay, but anyway, the Russell up 2.16%. Oh my goodness, I don't know what that sound was. Enormous comeback for them. The Dow, so we just got through talking about the Dow. I feel like a broken record right now, but that is literally an inverse head and shoulders again. So watch for a rotation potentially tomorrow back into this sector potentially. You do have a nice setup, inverse head and shoulders here. Plenty of room on the RSI, MACD. Again, they're up 1.76 or 76% today. Excuse me, and have a decent and a good amount of room to run. Don't tell me that's going to be where I have to chart that from. No, that's not correct. Let's go back to my 4-hour time frame. I'm going to chart this one and see where our downtrend is at. Maybe. There it is. Okay, so that looks like a, I'm trying to make sure I got my angle right. Yep, there it is. Okay, so looking at the levels that we have, sorry guys, this is live charting, so if I'm rambling right now, I apologize, but I want to make sure that I have these correct. I don't want you guys having incorrect levels. Are you serious? That bird is back. Where did it come from? Yep, okay, so that's a good level there. Any more levels that I can't see? Nope, got that level nailed too as well. Okay, so looking at the levels on the Dow, yeah, that's 64. Sorry guys. Gotta make sure I get these right. Okay. Wow, that almost looks like a little pattern there. Linear pattern. Okay, so looking at the chart right now, I would say anywhere above 63.80 or 63.75 and you're likely going to see a break back up around 64.15 resistance. So obviously no straight lines, but we could have a big day on the Dow as well. Look at SPG. We swung that in our. Oh wow, that's awesome. Okay, so we are looking at a potential rebound, or at least a push back up to 65 on the Dow right here. Oh, I have the wrong thing up right now? I'm sorry, guys. I might be tripping right now. Okay, I really apologize about that. I was just sitting there charting, just not even thinking about it. Okay, well, same thing. Let's see here. Wow. Okay, well, I don't really have to move or change anything here. Same thing on the Dow. Pretty obvious. So look for stocks like BA, CAT. CAT's a big one that really needs a rebound here. Ending the day with what looks, and this one runs really well. If you guys have small accounts, this one is really decent. So making a little cup and handle here, it looks like on the lower time frame, maybe even on the hourly as well. And so I'm looking for this one to potentially leg up with the Dow. And this one actually ends up has a downtrend that doesn't get hit until around the 220 level. So this one could be a decent runner. Okay, wow, I can't believe I just charted the Dow. I don't even know what that is, the DOW at least. Let's see here. All right. So we'll go ahead and just take a look at what the plays are going into tomorrow. Somebody asked me about Roku and why I decided to take Roku. So this one was pretty simple. It looked like a textbook cup and handle on the hourly time frame. I love this setup. Look at the accumulation volumes. This is where I want you guys to really take note. So even though we had a flat day, right, and we had a nice push up, volume stays strong. Volume also is accumulating during this whole process on Roku. Sell off, big pump, right? So anytime that I see volume is your number one indicator, write it down. That is seriously the most important thing that I urge. It's like the most basic, but it is what it is. It's one of the most reliable indicators on at least where the stock could go in the future. So yeah, I mean, that's you have a cup and handle, you have positive sentiment within the cues, at least looking at the chart. You have a decent bounce off support. And honestly, this is a good thing to keep in mind. There's no negative sentiment, right? There's nothing. Roku is, as far as I know, I haven't heard anything myself, but like, you know, they've had a really strong pullback, and like I said just a little bit ago, with every really strong pullback comes an even stronger bounce. And I say that for any stock that's worth anything. So looking at Roku, you know, it got stopped out today, showing very little weakness. That's something that if I was looking at this to swing tomorrow, right? And it's I don't know, 350. And I'm looking at the hourly, I'm like, okay, let's see here. After hours, the 9 still looking up. Volume still really high. We made a nice break out of that cup and handle. Showing a little bit of weakness, or not showing weakness as far as buyers, but in the selling, right? This doesn't show strength in, as far as the sellers are concerned. It's just gently or tapering back to that 9-day moving average, where usually, and you can see here, it does like to bounce off of that moving average. 1 second. And I think if we go to, what was it? No, I guess it was on the hourly. So on this one, the 20-day moving average is a good line or a good moving average to watch. So there is a good chance that Roku may end up consolidating further. So if you caught the Roku swing, or if you're still swinging Roku, just have your hands on deck and be ready to hedge yourself, and then have a stop loss where you would cut that call and then continue to let those downside puts, or whatever the case may be, run. So, but like I said, strong volume, didn't end the day. This one will be on watch tomorrow for sure. Obviously looking to take it above pre-market highs and or today's highs around that 385.89. If it pulls back and decides to go to the 20, then that's obviously another level that I'll be paying close attention to, is where that 20-day moving average is at if we do end up seeing a reversal. So okay, so any of you guys who took MAXR, did anybody in here take MAXR? Hands up if you took MAXR, please, because I'm so excited, and I love this company. Just period, end of story. I think it's extreme. I've been screaming undervalued for a while, and I didn't even think that we would see this type of movement. Sorry, there's nothing in my hair. It's just in my bothering my peripherals. But crazy move in after hours. So if you guys took this swing trade with us, rationale on here was really simple. Get rid of these crazy lines I got. So pulling it up from these highs right here, I could see that every time we wicked below on MAXR, you can see here buyers stepping up. This right here, again, volume, number one thing, so important. And anytime you're looking to scalp, swing trade, day trade, volume, number one. Except for on Roku, it seems to send it on nothing. So big volume there, nice little flag. Price target raise. We actually ended up catching the previous pump. I love this. I think I'm taking it. I am holding my equity come hell or high water for probably the next couple of years, unless something, obviously, I'm like a massive market correction, which at that point I have a plan in place to be out of that trade. So anyway, if you're in MAXR, so if we go look at the daily on MAXR, we talked about, those of you who are in the Discord, we talked about the massive cup and handle. What is that line? That's a really good question. That is a volume moving average. So it's giving me an idea of where volume has stayed consistently, the average of the volume over time. So if I look at the daily or weekly, the line obviously adjusts itself. But when we see and you can see there is a bit of respect, right? So here the moving average is really, really low. And when the volume makes the moving average adjust, if you consistently stay above that moving average, that's how you know that volume is picking up rather than dying down. So it's good to correlate the two. And here you can see it's moving steadily across, just letting me know that when the volume does step in, that when it crosses that moving average, that obviously we're getting some positive volume. Unless it's dumping, because you can get high volume when you dump too, for sure. So anyway, MAXR right now, I had a price target of, and it's right here because we have a gap to fill, to finish filling to 42.75. Awesome. Glad you learned something new. That's amazing, man. And volume, like I said, you can never have enough You can have too many indicators, but I don't think you can have enough insight on how important volume is on any time frame. So, okay, 42.75. That's MAXR's price target for tomorrow. If I don't believe that we hit that in post market. We're at 42 basically. So we have 75 cents to fill a gap on MAXR. This one is, and look at, oh man, look at how beautiful it is. It's so beautiful. This is the most beautiful. It's a cup and handle. It's a baby cup and handle within a cup and handle. Oh my God. I want a birthday cake that looks like this. Cup and handle again within the cup and handle section. And already in after hours, huge move, huge buy. I'm really curious to see who bought MAXR. I love this company. I'm so stoked. But anywhere past this 42.75 mark, once we fill that gap, things can get a little bit messy. You can see how MAXR has moved in this area. And again, these are not all-time highs. But this is a major resistance in the 50s. The price target right now, is is $55 from most analysts. Am I a chart nerd? I think I may be a chart nerd. I'm getting geeked up about charts. I need to calm down. But I love it. It's just so cool. It's so cool. In a bad way, like it's obviously manipulation, but it's just lines are cool, But anyway, 55 is the current price target, and that is right around where our last run on MAXR began. Our last run on MAXR for me actually began in June. I think it was right around here, right before earnings, and I played MAXR, could not break that $35 level, played it both up and down, and then we just ended up running parabolically with space. So, it's a big, yeah. Okay, so we got MAXR. Does it? Okay, we'll take a look at that. So anyway, looking at this one for continuation, going long on it. I may even grab $60 calls. Might be a little bit too soon, obviously, with what I talked about. I want to see the gap get filled, and I want to see how we close after that gap gets filled. Once we're there, then we'll kind of look at where, because I'm in equity, and I've been buying equity in MAXR. Anytime I see a strong move coming, like I did today, I added to MAXR. I added to MAXR right around this first break of this red line that was at that 32.70 or 24 mark, and then just continuing to add above the 9-day moving average. I'm super stoked. So anyway, let's look at NVIDIA. Okay. Microsoft. Actually, we're going to do Microsoft first, not NVIDIA, because we actually have positions in Microsoft. Anybody in the chat swing Roblox by chance? Okay, so right off the bat, I'll keep this short and sweet. Very obvious setup here on Microsoft. I'm looking for a gap up to around 263.60, or maybe even a little bit more. We'll see if we get that run past that level. This does look like a wedge, which usually will be a reversal pattern. If we end up getting a rejection at this level, I will take it to the downside. So You took Roblox? Okay. So basically tomorrow, if you're in Microsoft, we might end up TPing a little bit. Yeah, so I swung the 265 calls as well. The thing that I'm noticing here on Microsoft is the influx of volume. I don't know if this is selling or buying, but I have seen decent flow. Let's actually, since we have flow algo up, look at Microsoft right now. So 620. Hey, what time was that? When did that come in? That's a spicy meatball. All right. Well, we are in those contracts too. At 96 and 97. Big sweeps, not too much premium. 40 and 49K. So, and like I said, those are at 500 contracts at $97. So that's a little bit of cheddar there for sure. But again, looking at the chart, I need to see this pattern broken, and obviously I want to see it broken to the upside. So if we break tomorrow above 263.56 and hold bullishly, if the Qs do what we talked about, I actually just talked about the Qs. The Qs look just like they actually look like they could run tomorrow. They kind of pumped up, bounced off of this major support that I have here. Excuse me. They ended a little bit flat, but that's to be expected. I think we had a lot of movement elsewhere, but I do think that the Qs are going to end up pushing and running up to the 346.42 level. That may not obviously happen in one day. We have seen strong movement, but my first price target's that 345.50. If we break that level, then I think that Microsoft has a chance to hit and run into the 265 level, may even hit 266, as another one of our analysts in the chat has talked about. So Roblox. So Roblox is actually, ooh, baby, I think this might rip. So beautiful falling wedge here. You look at the 4 hour if you want a cleaner look. Crazy pullback, rounded top. Definitely in need of a major bounce here. This is still relatively new. Well, not relatively. It is relatively new as far as it just IPO'd back in March. So we don't have a ton of data. I think if you run Fibonacci's on it, it's probably a good look. Or just set levels. Because it's new, it's pretty easy to identify where these newfound levels for Roblox or really any other stock. It's not that hard. So we got a really nice strong bounce off of the 78.35, 78.50 level. Reversal candle here, finishing the day bullishly above the hourly. Those of you who are swing traders, write this down. I'll give you a minute if you guys need a pen or anything. But if you see the hourly candle close above VWAP and the 9-day moving average with good volume, it's a good swing trade. Most of the time, it's a good swing trade. I have seen that play out 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10. Obviously, you can't predict everything, but it's a good tactic to remember. So that's my son's cup. Thanks, son. Is volume order data public? If we wanted to go find out actual orders during a specific time, we can look at that. Yeah, you can literally through your broker watch option data. It's obviously, I mean, you could go find out who's buying what, like as far as like a CEO or something like that. But no, it's not going to show you like every person or something. So 9-day moving average, just the moving average, no SMA, EMA, just MA. if you see the stock close above VWAP and the 9-day moving average, and the 9-day moving average is looking to cross VWAP, you're going to get a strong pop usually the next day. So watch this one for a rebound tomorrow. Roblox will be on watch past 83.50. And this one might be good to grab one out till next week. 84.15 is also going to be a major wall as well. So on Roblox, I use volume profile indicator. Yeah. I just don't have it because I have crazy lines all over my chart. So I just try and keep it clean. But it's not a bad to have on there. Oh, you're talking about the swing trading technique? Wait, hold on 1 second. Oh, never mind. Vincat, you already heard me. Repeatedly, I just want to know. Oh, got you. Sorry. Just lost like last year's Easter eggs. Ooh-yee! That's some big volume, yeah. Okay, looks like you got a run to $60 coming, potentially. It looks like maybe just, well, obviously I have all-time high of 55, 54. This is a good look here. Nice rounded bottom. That's always bullish. Bullish bottom. Let's see here. You're going to need to clear 58.30 tomorrow, I think. Just the volume. I mean, the volume is massive. Yeah, volume is great. I mean, this is exactly what I would look for any type of swing trade, is that kind of volume. Especially the RSI not showing too much. It's not reacting too hard, like it has more room to run. So that's always good as well. Yeah, no, absolutely. I see you have June 18th, June 17th, big volume for sure. Let me look at the daily. Yeah, so you can see the little pop here. And then, I mean, this thing doesn't need a lot of volume to get going. Look at this previous run. I'm not even sure what KKR. I don't think I've traded it. I have heard of it, but I have never traded it personally. But it looks damn good. I may have to. So you got to bounce off of that 9-day moving average too. But yeah, massive volume coming in, so it looks great. Last minute. So if we go look at hourly or even the 5-minute. So that's so they actually have a saying, dumb money opens the market and smart money closes it. So I do. Yeah, Raj, I think so. Cliff. Yes, Cliff bounced off of support today. Wait, was that support? I got an alert on it. Oh, shit. Okay, not quite there yet. Might be people getting a good average. This is the weird thing about Cliff. It broke out off of this bounce of support, which has already bounced 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times, and still just reversed at that 24.35 level. Completely reversing, pulling back underneath this resistance level. So we got a bounce. Looks like you got a bounce here today. I would watch for this one to possibly push up around 2161 if it was kind of break downtrend. Have your downtrend level there. But this one looks like it is flat up against resistance right now. So Asset management and financials. Got it. Awesome. Well, it definitely looks good on the chart for sure. Cliff needs to get above break the. Oh, I got so sleepy. 2105. So, but just draw that downtrend, and then you can see you have targets, pretty clear ones here. Yeah, 24.25. All right. Let's see here. Kroger, by the way. Okay, so here's the deal with Kroger. If anybody took Kroger, is in Kroger. This is what we're looking like. So tomorrow, we could see a pullback. FCX has the same story as Cliff. Interesting. So on this one right here, we may see a little bit of a pullback. I don't think it's going to be bad. I think we're going to see 39.25, 39.50, and then at that point we may get and should get another strong bounce off of support there. Otherwise, we ended the day with a flag, and we'll bounce off of this 9-day moving average and get that break, which we tried to break and hold today, but could not do it. That's 39.65. Obviously, after that, we have the $40 mark. So, how screwed is crypto? So the death cross isn't like the end of it. Hardly ever did. I think the internet's kind of making it worse than it is. A death cross, hardly ever historically in stocks and crypto does a death cross just trigger a flash dump. Now, a lot of people will they continue that narrative, which then causes people to panic sell when they see the dump because they think it's going to just continue to dump. But even on my chart right here, I already have the EMA cross, right? It already dumped. If anything, I have the 50, right? And obviously, I have different moving averages, but all in all, they look and are around the same place. So if you have that death cross on Bitcoin, it doesn't mean that you're going to just parabolically dump. Historically, if you look at Bitcoin, right, almost every time, look at this. So we got to run, look, this is ridiculous. A run from 31.29, right? This is just in one little cycle. Rip all the way to 13K. And then you pull all the way back, right down here, back down to 4K, where you originally were at. Ridiculous. And then you just bloop, right back up and you rip. So everything looks absolutely terrible. As far as the chart is concerned for Bitcoin, based on a head and shoulders, right? So you have a massive head and shoulders. It's like that. It's got like demon spikes on it. I mean, look at this thing. It's the most evil chart I've seen in a long time. See, look at this, terrifying. I mean, but I wouldn't get okay. So it's not screwed. It goes through this a lot. Bitcoin does this constantly, and is it because of what the nature of what it is. It's going to have these dumps and these pumps. It pumps and it dumps, but all in all, it continues the same cycle, but upwards. So down here we have breaks $1,000. I mean, I'm sure some people thought they were just ripped, and this is the crazy movement that shakes people out. But then you from 1K all the way to 20K and you dump. Okay, then you get another pump up, 13K, and you dump. So having perspective, it is what it is. That's fun. I like anything that like just it's challenging and always changing. I don't like consistency in like my work, I guess. Or do you think it will consolidate before going up? I think that I think 20K, 23, 25. I can't be certain. I think your first stop, major stop, is going to be 24K. Maybe even pulling back down 21. So 21 to 24K. That's my price target. Anywhere below that, we would see 19, which would be insane and have a lot of people really upset. This had nothing to do with Elon Musk and everything to do with technicals and just the fact that a coin that was down here at $9,000. I can't believe that I'm even saying that, because look at this. This is the run. I mean, this is the biggest run that it's ever had. So it is price exploration mode. It is whenever the government shakes everybody out and finds some way to regulate it and buys in, who knows. Yeah, it always does. And it's I always use the paw of the dog, experiment, but it builds the reward centers in your brain for doing due diligence, right? So for me, technical analysis, I find things, I think the chart tells you a lot, so it's just one of those things where I do enjoy it, but I think one of the things that I gotta be honest with you, I really like, being able to like share these thoughts with people. It's like stock therapy, like, man, like I see, look at this, like, look at this crazy, Head and Shoulders, or, back in, I kept tweeting my head off, but back in, February, I was telling everybody, I was like, you guys, we got to, like, people really need to consider selling Bitcoin, because it has this crazy ascending wedge, right? And that's exactly what ended up happening. We ended up reversing. And when you see things like that and you take profit on Bitcoin, it's a great feeling, right? You saved yourself a loss. You took profit at the right time. So, and that goes for everything. Okay, can I look at UPS? Yeah, let's stick to the stocks. Sticky stocks. No way. A UPS pattern. That's funny. That kind of looks like it might end up being a megaphone pattern. Hold on, let me straighten it up a little bit. Well, that could end up being a megaphone. This is the daily. So what I like to do with the megaphone patterns, if I see them, right, and this is where things can get complicated for some people, but it's called a linear deviation, but it applies to a lot. So here I take the pattern, I split it in half. Oh man, thanks guys, I appreciate that. I wrote say, I'm blushing. Let's see, UPS, so right as, if you can get above 205, which is that linear deviation, 212.50, I think, is your next stop. So could make for a decent swing trade, day trade. I gotta be honest with you, I don't think I remember if UPS runs with the Dow. If it does, and I'm pretty sure it does, then you should see a rebound tomorrow. That's my guess. You finished and closed above the 200. Your RSI is pushing back. The MACD is looking like it kind of wants to roll back over to the green side. So expect maybe a little bit of movement here, but if you stay long, it looks good. Okay. What did I miss here? Ouch. Alright, pulled a muscle in my chest. Yeah, of course, Raj. Alright, so we covered MAXR. Fubo with the crazy move today. I don't know why I didn't set more alerts on this. Oof, it's one of those days. But I caught a lot of other things, so I'm happy. But this one had a great setup on the daily, higher time frames. Had a nice symmetrical triangle. And broke out today with some oomph, ending the day with a bull flag. We have seen it in this way before, break out and reverse. You can see here, look at this level here, so don't go chasing waterfalls quite yet. There could be a pullback in store, but keep an eye around 32 for a break above that. This is also running with the meme stocks, which leads me to Wish. So Wish here, it looks like in after hours, and this is textbook, and this is actually, I'm going to show you what a market maker looks like right here if you guys are ready for it. High frequency trading in after hours. Not very often that you see that. And you can see that they even have a hard time building this pattern. See that? Look at this. They're trying their hardest to hear that buyers don't even let it get to support, but they exhaust the buyers, right? All in all, it's going up, buyers keep coming in, and then once it gets to a new high, people are like, oh, okay, like what's going to happen here? We're at that 14. Then they kind of pull it back, and then you can just see here in after hours, it is looking like it's going to pull back a little bit. Anything with a squeeze, guys, is risky in itself, but prone to things like that. So quick pullback. So we're going to be watching this one tomorrow. The sentiment behind it is huge. So here's I'll just to make it simple for you guys. Make sure it's not complicated before I try and say it's simple. Simpleton. Okay, looks like you have a wide range here if we do pull back, which at that point we'll evaluate it from there. So you might see a little bit, we've had a strong run, might be over. I did swing a good bit of it. I took profit on a lot of the options. Anybody who caught Wish today, I know that we're not the only people out there who caught it either, but congratulations. I'm really happy for anybody who was able to catch that. It's always nice when you can get in early. This is why we had prepared for this setup on Wish. So pre-market told us a whole lot, and it's funny, they tried to shake people out, but buyers were pretty consistent on that one. All right, so we got Microsoft, right? Yeah, we talked about Microsoft. Snapchat is another one, kind of same thing. Qs, it's all pent up and ready to go. We had a really, like I said before, remember, big pullback here, buyers stepping up. So we're watching that one above 63.85 for a potential breakout tomorrow with the Q. So tech stocks definitely on my mind for sure. Let's see here. Just to see if I'm running forward, seems to keep getting rejected at 1480. Is that correct? What do you think? Let's see. So starting on the daily, or starting on the hourly rather. Yeah, so it's actually 1485. So just a few cents off. In after hours here, it can't seem to break 1480. But the resistance right above that, where it's kind of just being held underneath, is the 200-day moving average as well as that 1485. But yeah, you're right on the money. Good job. but basically same place. There's a you could even say it's stuck or rejecting the 80 to 85 cent range, right? Oh, ouch. This one actually making an inverse head and shoulders a little bit too on this hourly time frame, so definitely worth watching. Good. So anytime you're at resistance and you get a rejection, that's to be expected. Anytime you get to a resistance and you don't reject, that's where you keep your eye on it, because normally that's where shorts are going to come in. If buyers don't let that happen, then it's a battle for that price mark, and hopefully you evaluate volume. You look at that, okay, I'm looking at volume right here. Ford's showing me that there is an uptick in volume over the last 3 days at this bottom level. So I think it's actually a good sign. So anywhere above that 200 moving average, 1485 with volume, you could see a good move on Ford. So thoughts on Fiverr APPN for a swing? Okay, let's look at Fiverr. Look at daily, always starting on daily. Doesn't look like we have any linear setups here, or excuse me, chart patterns that are worth, at least not on this time frame. Excuse me, guys. Okay. I like to get the range in which it's trading in. So, Deepan, you still with us? Sorry if I kept rambling. I do that sometimes. Okay, so we have earnings. That's cool. So that is all the way in August. So we have a little bit of time. May not see the parabolic movement, but it does very much appear that you have broken downtrend. Kind of hard to get an idea of where exactly that's at, and that's kind of why I'm not. And I think that's it right there. Yeah, that's it right there. So breaking downtrend, trading flat. I don't know if anybody's awesome. You're still here. So anytime a stock doesn't make a new high or new low, remember that the stock market is supposed to go up. And a lot of times, obviously, if there's minuscule volume and negative sentiment, then the chances of it going down, or the probability goes way up. If it's positive, or the company is a good company, you like the company, but you know that it's a good company, fundamentals look good, cash looks good, whatever the case may be, then when a stock sits flat, whether that be after a major pullback like this, that's a good time to start collecting a good average. So keep an eye on that. There you go. So, and I was just about to say, the job rates should continue to grow into past summer, especially as Christmas season approaches. I think some people are gonna break and get jobs, or whatever the case may be, or who knows. But not me. Just kidding. I did my time. Did high-rise window cleaning for forever, construction, fine dining, you name it, I've done it. My time in the service industry, at least, is done. So Fiverr 235.75. That's where I would be paying close attention to the stock right now. The volume is starting to very lightly pick up. The one thing I don't like, just to be straight up, is the RSI is really, really high for such a insignificant move. So with that being said, and let me, before I go crazy here, there, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so it looks good. with everything the way that it is, and it does seem like it will climb back into that RSI, so you may see a run into the 240, looks like maybe the 240s. Yeah, so you might see a run into the 240s, I'm looking for 247, looks like 246.50, somewhere in that range right there. That looks like a good price mark to keep an eye on if you continue to get a breakout. But you did break downtrend here, at least on this lower time frame downtrend. And if I'm not, let's see here. So you actually made a fall, I think it's called like a falling megaphone. I don't trade megaphones quite often, but you are getting a breakout there. Be careful, this is a very obvious resistance here, so don't expect a straight line. Let the trade come to you in this sense. So APPN, APN. Broke downtrend, at least off of wicks here. This is actually one of my favorite swing trading setups. Those of you who are swing traders or have been following me, you know that I really like the EMA crossover. Again, I'll go ahead and say it. I don't like the RSI being so overbought, and I don't like that the MACD indicator has already had the crossover, although it still has a significant amount of room to run. It is at a very key level, which it tried to break today and was unsuccessful. 134 or 143.35. If I mix up my numbers, guys, it's the dyslexia. I apologize. But 144.25 would likely be where you'll see another leg up from APPN. But it looks good, and it has a nice EMA crossover with an accumulation of volume. So looks pretty dang good. But all right, so can I answer any questions before I shut it down for the night? Also, guys, before I say anything else, keep your eyes peeled on CCJ and the rest of the uranium stocks, which are looking as if they would bounce off of support. Shuttle of a ding dong. There we go. Bam. Okay. So looking for a potential bounce tomorrow. This one should be easy enough to let the trade come to you and not rush anything. But just keep your eyes peeled on that downtrend right there. Let me actually go down to the 4 hour. Yeah, I had a feeling. That's really, really clean. So expect a bounce tomorrow back up to 657. And then a potential breakout past there. Sorry about that. Isn't that a inverted head and shoulders in the making on APPN? That is a cup and handle. I would say that your shoulder is less likely to play out, but you do and could, if you do reject here, you could have already had a handle form here, but if you reject here, then you'll likely make a handle before you make anything else. But yes, yeah, it does look like a potential cup and handle for sure, in more ways than one. So. But like I said, be careful with everything pushing it. I really would like to see it break today's high tomorrow in order to get confirmation. So, Tilray. Keep your eyes peeled on Tilray. I can see pretty obvious here. That was a very, very stiff correction for sure. Sometimes you have to like kind of dig a little bit when you're charting to see like what's really going on and whether or not your resistances and supports aren't getting caught up with the correction. So what do you mean let the trade come to us? So that's a great question, right? So let's say we're watching Tilray and you want to catch the bounce at this level here, right? Because you've seen it respect this level, and you charted it. It looks, looks like it's definitely that's actually a perfect reversal pattern. But you think that maybe the supports here, you have your support wrong. Okay, let me rewind here. Let's say that you have the falling wedge, just as you see it right here, and you're waiting for confirmation. You found this wedge back here on June 17th. That means there may be a couple days where you don't get to trade it until you see the bounce that you want. So you're letting the trade, right? You see the setup, you see the potential there, you let the trade come to you. So you set alerts, you follow the volume. You can set alerts on volume. I've gone over this in some of my previous videos. It's literally as easy as going and identifying what the highest volume on Tilray is, which is obviously meme stock volume, which is a little bit unrealistic. But you could go over here and find a decent median, and go and look at and add an alert to the volume. So you can see add alert to the volume. What did the volume look like there? That was a breakdown. So let's look at a mildly bullish day. So this 6 million, right? So you could literally go and set an alert at 6 million or at 1 million. So you got to kind of start seeing when that volume starts really stepping in. But Tilray does have a falling wedge. I do think it's worth watching tomorrow, above 17. It looks like we closed at 1750. So if you get a gap up, depending on where you get a gap up, I would look at the break of 17. I would say 1765 with volume, for a potential run up into the 1822 level, 25 level. So, all right. What else we got, guys? I'm getting tired as we speak. My eyeballs don't want to stay open, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it down. Those of you in the Discord, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll post my watch list for things that I'm watching in between now and tomorrow. So if you guys have any questions, excuse me, please feel free to ask, or DM me and let me know. There you go. And sorry, I was responding to your comment about being patient. Raj, yes. I actually open that book probably on a weekly basis. It's sitting on my mantle right over there. It's a good center, I guess. I like it a lot, but thank you. There you go, Ben. That's a good way to do it, word it as well. So you could wake up at 9:15 and look at the chart and be like, man, that has the volume on it, and you might take a trade. You took a trade. You didn't let the trade come to you. You just took one, and because it looked good, or the chart may have looked all right. But at the end of the day, exactly what Ben said. So thank you very much, Raj. That gift means a lot to me. I appreciate it, man. All right. Anything else I can answer for you guys? I gotta get a haircut. And stop using my fiance's shampoo because it makes my hair all shiny. RH, Robinhood, or the stock? In pre-market pays well. I see that. Looks like it runs really hard. Interesting. Weird setup. Yeah, it looks like it rebounded off of, it didn't even hit support. Just rebounded really quickly. That's a shot. Stop RH? I never traded Robin. Yeah, right. I just shorted it. Okay. Yeah, I see that. It is. Well, I got an alert on it here. You got good volume. Looks like earnings just passed, right? Looks like they did well. I haven't seen the whole thing. So if they haven't dumped, they'll pump. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Oof, yeah. Need to make sure I'm off at 9:30. That ran a little late. Update in the morning. I'll see you guys probably around 8:45. I'm going to push up the morning meeting just a little bit as there seemed to be a bit of excess time. And so just so for my sake, I would want to shorten that up a little bit. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys if you left a like. Make sure you guys go and follow my personal Twitter at PotterStocks, so that way if you guys are, if you're on Twitter, I do post a lot of my thoughts and opinions and just things that I see, you know, if I'm just out and about, as far as the market is concerned, news, stuff like that. So of course, hopefully you guys got some good information, and make sure that if you guys have questions that come up during the day, set a notebook beside you and write them down, and I'll answer them. You know, if we happen to get on live, or not happen to, but when we get on live again, and I'll alert you guys, obviously in the Discord and on my Twitter as well. So, all right, guys. Have a wonderful night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you guys tomorrow. Oh, what is the link for live trading? 1 second, and I'll just do it right now. There you go, man. That's the link for live trading. That's good for 7 days. DM me on Twitter or on IG if you have any other questions, or just be here in the morning at 8:30. So 8:30 tomorrow, 8:45 tomorrow morning. I'll see you guys there, Eastern time. Sorry, but anyway, thanks guys. Appreciate you guys.